Thank you very much for setting the scene, Susie. And as you say, culture is key, and we're really looking forward to hearing about how that was created at Rachel and Emma's schools. So I'd like to pass over now to Rachel. Are you going to start off?
Yes, I am. Thank you, Betsy. Well, thank you very much to Kirsten and to Betsy for inviting us along. It's an absolute privilege to come along after being one of the participants in the Connect sessions all of last year. It's lovely to be invited to actually speak at it, so thank you. And I'm feeling quite happy as well, Suzanne, with that little analogy, feeling like a little sunflower on a Thursday afternoon after school. So I do like that, thank you. Me and Emma will be little rays of sunshine in our own settings, very much apt in line with the theme of learning for sustainability. So thank you for that. So I suppose I'm going to talk a little bit about the strategic change process in learning for sustainability. And then I'm going to go on to the 6 key factors that I believe are central to creating that whole school approach in learning for sustainability. So if I could have the next slide, please, Kirsten, that would be great. Thank you. So it all began with a small group of 10 young change makers who were our Duns Eco Committee. And they wanted to make a difference. They wanted to make a difference in our school, and they wanted to make a difference in our community. And at that point in time, we had a very lovely invitation from some ladies in the community group called Greener Duns who were keen to work with the school. So the children and the ladies from Greener Duns got together with a few meetings, and together we ended up forming a shared vision to make changes that would impact upon the children of Duns and the wider community. The children invited Greener Duns along to their meetings, and we embarked upon quite a few different community-based projects, such as the Switch Up and Breathe campaign for Cleaner Air Day Scotland. And we also did a slow cooker project because the children were really keen to focus on the global goal of no poverty. So we did slow cooking for 14 classes. We did it twice that year, and we invited families along for that. And this was all led and planned and orchestrated by the children in the Eco Committee. So it was just amazing to see the confidence that they found and the way that they found their voices. And they were really passionate because they'd become involved in really real life, authentic learning experiences that they were in charge of. Next slide, please, Kirsten. So the children linked their work to the global goals and the right of the child, and they achieved their green flag for EcoSchool Scotland quite quickly. And then as I researched and found out a little bit more about learning for sustainability, I came across research from the Children's Parliament and the University of Dundee, both of which resulted in a call to action. And these calls to action sought to ensure children in Scotland had more opportunities to learn outdoors throughout all the seasons, to form views, ideas and opinions about climate change, so that they were listened to and the children were provided with opportunities to work with adults on global issues, and a call for the Scottish Government to take urgent action to protect our natural environment as well. So there was a real authentic and, serious call for action from the Children's Parliament and the University of Dundee. And then one of the priorities was that learning for sustainability is prioritised in all schools and is part of that coherent and strategic vision. So I could really see that the children of Duns were no different, and they too had this sense of urgency for their own call to action. And within a short space of time, we saw a 20% increase in the children who wanted to be in the Eco Committee, which was really lovely because they were so motivated and excited and ready to learn in these authentic real life learning contexts. Next slide, please, Kirsten. So at the same time, I began my into headship postgraduate with Edinburgh University. And this course, for those of you that don't know much about it, it basically supports leaders to develop a strategic change initiative and drive forward an area of school improvement. So I began to look inwards at some of our school documentation, like our Learning for Teaching and Assessment Toolkit, our school curriculum rationale, and our curriculum and context map, all of which were very robust documents that we were pleased with. However, when we reflected, we could see that we didn't have, although we had the sort of themes of sustainability woven throughout them, there wasn't any explicit reference to learning for sustainability. And this is something that I felt that if we're saying that learning for sustainability is an entitlement for all children in Scotland, it's very it's very important that we have it explicitly referenced in that phrase, learning for sustainability, and an understanding of what that means is worked towards and driven towards. And then with the GTC suite of professional standards being underpinned by interdependent themes of professional values, learning for sustainability and leadership, I made the decision to make learning for sustainability the focus of my strategic change initiative, because I wanted to ensure that the children were receiving, as I said, this entitlement to learning for sustainability. Next slide, please, Kirsten. So the interheadship, it requires you to link policy, research, theory and practice. So I began to look outwards to examine the current policy landscape, both nationally and globally. I reached out at that point to Learning for Sustainability Scotland, the regional centre of expertise on education for sustainable development. And their research and professional learning offers that I engaged with were pivotal in shaping my thinking. I joined, as I said, the monthly LfS Connect sessions to link in with current research, practice theory, and connect with other professionals. And this was a really invaluable part of the process for me and for our school and for the children of Duns Primary, because I was very much on my own journey with my own understanding of what learning for sustainability meant and how I could look to drive it forward in my school and support staff to develop their understanding of it also. Next slide, please, Kirsten. So globally, the education for sustainable development has been a top priority since the Brundtland Report in 1987. And globally, the United Nations, OECD and UNESCO being the main sort of powerhouses globally, they've channeled their collective efforts towards key issues such as human rights, maintaining peace, analysing economic trends and leading the global education agenda. Then I looked at some of the national documents and that close section of key findings and reports that took place that year. So there was reports such as the Withers reports, the Muir report, the Hayward report, and then also the final report about the national discussion which took place. And these all shaped an impact upon the trajectory of my thinking around learning for sustainability, and how together with the children of Duns we could aim towards the strategic change initiative, which then became known as Small Hands, Big Impact, Learning for Sustainability. Next slide, please, Kirsten. And then in June 2023, there was the national call to action, as we heard about earlier, whereby the Scottish Government set out its Learning Sustainability Action Plan Target 2030. This has a very clear vision on the concept of sustainable learning settings by 2030. And as we heard earlier from Betsy, the key themes, the 4 Cs of culture, curriculum, community and campus. So when I was planning my whole school approach to learning for sustainability, I strategically planned it so that the 3 strands of our strategic change initiative, Small Hands, Big Impact, they were at the heart of these 4 Cs. And at the heart of the Target 2030 agenda. Next slide, please, Kirsten. So the 3 strands that the change initiative centred around were curriculum, innovation and design. So we have been working on creating a curriculum that is co-created by the children and by the staff at Duns and interweaves the themes of learning for sustainability. The second strand was about professional learning and pedagogy. So we're in the process, we've begun and have delivered some of, but we're in the process of developing a professional learning pathway and learning for sustainability for staff. And then the third strand, and this was the most important one because it really is, this whole project, this whole strategic change has come from the children. So children as change agents. So our aim was to further empower the children to have agency and autonomy over their own learning, and children who are leading real-world sustainable learning experiences initiatives. So one of the things I do believe about ensuring you're creating a whole school approach to learning for sustainability, I believe it's really vital to place learning for sustainability within the school improvement plan. I think in order for it to be sustainable, in order for it to be fully impactful, it needs to have a place in the school improvement plan. By doing this, it's ensured that it's planned effectively, as it requires careful strategic thinking around who the key lead people are, how the whole school will become involved, so the whole school community and stakeholders and partners, And also it really made me think about the notion of winning over the hearts and minds of teaching staff, our support staff, our families, and ultimately ensuring it's impacting upon the learning experience of the children. So for me, getting it in the school improvement plan was a top priority. I'm going to hand over to Emma now. So Emma Turnbull is our principal teacher at Duns Primary School. And just to give you a little bit of background, at that point in the proceedings, I then got a job in another school. So Emma stepped up to the mark, and she has done an absolutely amazing job of implementing the strategic change. Me from the sidelines whilst I've been in my other schools, but Emma's completely and utterly just ran with my project and our project at Duns. So I'll hand over to her because she'll be able to talk about everything that we've been getting up to recently.
Hopefully you can hear me. Just turn my sound off. Rachel and I are in the same room, so we're just working on the sound. Does that work? Yeah. So my journey began at the beginning of my secondment as principal teacher, as Rachel embarked on her new adventure. I worked very closely with Rachel and I absorbed her journey so far. We are taking our Learning for Sustainability vision forward as that whole setting approach, and we are very much at the beginning of our 2-year plan. And as Rachel had alluded to, that is present within our school improvement plan. We want to ensure that our learners receive their entitlement for Learning for Sustainability. And despite Rachel embarking on her new adventure, she has left Learning for Sustainability as a legacy at Duns Primary School. And I do feel very grateful to be taking this forward for her. My first priority was to introduce the new initiative to staff during an in-service day and some CAT sessions. I use Shobi to organise the information that is needed and record collaboration that takes place during those sessions. And up on the slide, you'll be able to see what we have focused on that left-hand image so far. We have a plan for support staff going forward, but with teaching staff, we are focused on planning, professional learning. We've had a dip into GTCS's professional learning modules, learner leadership and self-evaluation. We are also very lucky to have had capacity to introduce a global goals teacher who covers RICT across all 14 of our classes. We can't thank Miss Bain enough for all the power of work that she has put into this project as well. She uses Shobi as well as part of her learner teaching and assessment cycle within those global goals sessions. We are also currently in the midst of using the Leuven scale as a form of qualitative data to measure learners' engagement during those sessions over time. Throughout the sessions, she is focusing on themes throughout the year. At the minute, she's focusing on zero hunger and is linking that to Harvest Festival. Our school improvement plan wall display, which is in the centre of the slide, displays and highlights our successes through all of our school improvement plan initiatives over time, and acts as that real working wall to ensure that when it is time to come to our school improvement report, that evidence is gathered and can be easily found. We have a unique community feel within our school, from our families to our community. Our aim is to ensure that all our stakeholders' voice is heard and is valued. We've recently hosted a Meet the Teacher sharing marketplace to promote that Learning for Sustainability initiative, and hope in the near future to gather families together for a Learning for Sustainability cafe to really ensure that they do feel valued along this journey. The community involvement is one of our most important aspects of the plan, and to name a few, we've been working alongside Green and Duns, as Rachel had mentioned, Sea of Change, who are coming in tomorrow into school to do the big cleanup and really focus on litter picking throughout the town, and Berwickshire Marine Association, who've been working with our primary 5 classes on some different experiments linked to learning for sustainability. As previously mentioned, we wanted to ensure that all of our partners are involved with the project, and audits of all of our stakeholders prior and post implementation have and will be taken to measure that impact and gather views to again ensure that everyone's voice is heard. We've made use of the Education Scotland sketch note with our learners as part of that audit to really sort of gather that ad hoc voice from them. Within our CAT sessions, as mentioned, the GTCS Learning for Sustainability modules have been built in as a development opportunity for staff, not only to get a recognition, but to promote discussion and encourage that collaborative working. Our learners will experience various Learning for Sustainability initiatives over the course of the year, and one that I wanted to really highlight to you today alongside that sort of global goals RICT cover that we have is recently we celebrated the Paralympics within our school as a whole school approach, and we were able to work alongside Paralympians from the borders who were there at the games, who created a personalised video for us, a tour of the village to really sort of bring that momentum to our learners. We worked with Live Borders alongside that and hosted a disabilities sports event throughout the week, so every class was able to experience a mini sort of Paralympic Games within our setting. We have 3 leadership groups. As Rachel had mentioned, the Eco Committee, they were well established, but we have introduced the Learning for Sustainability Champions and the Inclusion Leaders this session. Our Global Goals teacher is also working with our Rights Respecting Schools group. We use Showbie to record those meetings that we have, and I hosted one in the staff room with our groups the other day, just to bring that sort of feel to the kids of their importance of the role that they have within school and how they collaborate as a group. Our last meeting focused around creating the newsletter of all the success stories that we have so far, any reminders that the children wanted to share, any upcoming dates, etc. And we're going to do that on a monthly basis to keep everyone involved in that Learning for Sustainability journey as we go forward. What is really important is we feel the learners discussing their learning and how passionate and excited they are about this initiative. Each group has their own display, again, to take that ownership, and they're able to work together to decide what they would like to put on their display. A lot of them are interactive. For example, the Eco Committee display has recycling involved in there, so classes come down and recycle batteries, bottle tops, etc. We have various community initiatives coming up, and one of them is working with our parent council, who have donated some bulbs to brighten up our school garden. So our Eco Committee are going to be out and about with that. We've also got Borders Children's Charity, who are coming in to run an assembly with our primary 5s to 7s next week. Our learners like to get involved with our assemblies as well, and I've been leading on Learning for Sustainability assemblies. I like to link all of my assemblies to the rights of a child, bring in our sign-along team and link signs to the theme of the assembly, bringing in those global goals themes as well as the meta skills. We've been very busy, and I'll hand back to Rachel.
Thank you, Emma. That was fantastic. And I think what's been just really lovely for me to see is, you know, obviously I've planned a lot of the content there, but so much of that Emma's brought to that herself, and she's just run with it, and it's developed and taken different turns in the road, and yeah, some really exciting things there that the children have just gone with and planned themselves, which is just, you know, really exciting to see. So it's been lovely checking in with Emma and the children at Duns and seeing how they're all getting on. So that was great to see. Thank you, Emma. So it's clear to see that Emma and the children who are our change makers in Duns Primary School have been authentically involved in the 4 arenas of participation. And I've taken that from Education Scotland's Learner Participation in Educational Settings document. Because those 4 arenas, you can see that the children are very much involved in that, and they link into the 4 C's of the Target 2030 as well. It was also helpful to look at Roger Hart's ladder of children's participation, where the bottom rungs of the ladder represent areas of non-participation, such as manipulation and tokenism. And previously, before we started this strategic change, that's where I feel we were sitting in terms of our own journey with learning for sustainability. It was almost tokenistic. So it was really about us getting, supporting the children to move up the rungs of the ladder into the areas of participation, whereby the children were being consulted and informed, and the children were initiating and directing, and then sharing decision making with the adults as well. So I feel that that's been the real catalyst and driver for our Small Hands Big Impact Learning for Sustainability Strategic Change Initiative, as the children have been trusted to drive forward and lead authentically in the school, in their community. And excitingly, the children are working towards being agents of change nationally in May 2025, because they're going to be delivering their own call to action in their very own Duns Talks event. It's something that I've wanted to do for a while at Duns Primary School, very much inspired by the International TED Talk series. So we're going to create our own version of that at Duns and call it Duns Talks, and the children will lead these talks about different areas of learning for sustainability. And we're being given the privilege of being able to host it at one of the lecture theatres at the University of Edinburgh. So we're really excited to be hosting that event in May. So Betsy and Kirsten will get that invitation, and Suzanne will get an invitation out to you once we've got that date arranged, because it'd be great for you to come along. So in conclusion, in order to lead and implement a whole school community approach to learning for sustainability, I've identified the following 6 key factors which support the success of this at a whole school lead level. And this is on to the next slide, the final slide. So I do believe that, the rationale that you have, that justification of why you're doing what you're doing, I think it's really important to explore that with yourself as a professional, with your team and with the children. It's about considering your why, and that very much links into your own values and the ethos and culture, as Betsy spoke about earlier. The second thing is that it's crucial to identify key people who will lead and implement, and even without me being in the building, from Easter this year, Emma's gone on and led it. She then identified a teacher who would be the global goals teacher. So the people are paramount, so vital to ensuring it works. And then, as I said earlier, the whole school approach must sit within the robust school improvement plan. And I think that's been really vital for the sustainability of this project in my absence. And the children, number 4 is the children as change agents, with them being able to lead their learning. I think that's contributed to the success, absolutely, because they're just so motivated and enthusiastic about it all. And then number 5, the involvement of families and the wider community and community groups, and all of these things impact on the successful outcomes in terms of a whole school approach. And then finally, a key component has to be the professional learning offer that you put in place for staff to support, upskill and ensure that momentum takes place throughout the implementation process as well. Last night, actually, when I was online, I stumbled across a video called Whole School Approach to Global Citizen and Climate Change. I think it's by Education Scotland. I've popped the link there. I don't think we've got time to watch it just now, though. But I've popped the link there, so it's in the slides. But it's very similar. It's nice to see they've got very similar ideas as what I had as well. So it was reassuring to see that last night when I was looking at online. So thank you, Kirsten. That's us finished our input for now. Thanks again.
Thank you so much, Rachel and Emma. Absolutely inspiring and wonderful to hear. First of all, about that strategic intervention, and then the impact on learners, and that initiative, Small Hands Big Impact. You can really see the difference that it is making in your settings. So Yes, I find it overwhelmingly inspiring, and fantastic for you to share your experience and expertise in this way. Thank you very much for doing that. I liked the way too that you said that every context is different, and I think and every person is different and has something different to bring. And Emma, you clearly have brought new things and new initiatives, and I think that goes for everybody that's in the room today. That in your context and with your particular perspective, and your learners' perspectives, you're going to have a different whole setting approach. So we're not looking at one size fits all in relation to these 4 C's, and but it is very important that it is in there centrally in your setting. And so the way that you have made it central to your strategic improvement planning, I think that does seem to be really important in relation to driving this forward. I'm going to pass over now to Kirsten, who's going to organise us into, and those are contacts for Rachel and Emma